Away from work, can we talk about your private life for a second?
It depends how private you want to be.
How's your love life at the moment? 'Cause it's always part of the fascination for the media.
Yeah, I know, though you would think they would get bored with it at a time. It's fine. I haven't got a steady girlfriend. I'm on the move all the time. My life is split between London, south of France, Dubai, and New York. But I'm pretty pleased. Last weekend was a triumph for me. I had my first weekend in London for 7 weeks, and it was great. I put my feet up on Saturday. I had dinner with Hugh Edwards and his wife on Saturday night, and then a lunch with a bunch of friends on Sunday. A lunch that started at 2 p.m. and finished at midnight.
Wow.
And that was great. A really nice bunch of people.
Where was that?
Scalini's in Walton Street in Chelsea. So things are. I'm a bit tired because it's been a tough year, but I'm quite enjoying myself.
So are you happily single?
I would say I'm happily single.
And where do you stand on marriage now? You mentioned that earlier.
Well, I always thought I would get married, although late. I always thought I would. I always thought it would happen. Now I'm less sure. I'm less sure because I think as you get older and I live a very selfish lifestyle. My whole life, indeed all my work, is all geared around me. Everything is to make it possible for me either to work hard or play hard. The houses in London and New York and France, the travel I do, the way I travel, everything is all designed to suit me. And that's because I'm trying to juggle so many things at once that it has to be that way or I wouldn't be able to do what I do. And I think that becomes increasingly hard for someone to fit into that. I think it becomes more difficult because it's become established like that over a host of years. I mean, it would have been easier to get married when I was at the Sunday Times because although that was a strenuous job with long hours, it was one job with a set calendar, a set pace and rhythm to it, which someone else could then fit in and you could then accommodate whatever their work schedule was as well. And I think you can make, even busy people can make a relationship work. But I've got so many different things that I do. The demands of my time are enormous. I mean, this morning, for example, I got up at 4:30 because I had things to do.
So what are you working average? So on Thursdays it's an 18-hour day.
Thursdays is a long day. I mean, I start at 6 on a Thursday morning and I finish at 1 a.m. on a Friday morning. So that would be, well, that's a 19-hour day. And when you've finished work, when you've done that, I do 3 shows on it's easier with the magazines because they've just hit the newsstand, so you can take a break from the magazines. Yeah. But I've got 3 shows on a Thursday. You can't just get home at 1 o'clock in the morning and then just go to bed. You're kind of pumped up a bit, or you feel, and you want to relax for a while. And I do. I usually try to watch some rubbish on television, something I've Sky Plussed. I like to have a nightcap, a cigar. Much more difficult for someone to fit. I mean, anyone who with me would rightly expect some time with them after. It's much easier for me just to unwind on my own. I think the thing that also makes it easier is, I know this is hard to believe, and I've sometimes had to believe, I actually quite like my own company. Loneliness for me is different from being alone. When I'm alone, I'm not lonely. I mean, being alone for me is as good as it gets at times. Because so much of the time I'm surrounded by friends and work colleagues and having great time, like our 12-hour lunch or whatever it is. So I think a couple of years ago I spent Christmas Day on my own because I was so tired and I was down in the house in France and I just wanted to be on my own and have some wonderful food and a great bottle of wine and watch television. Something I was never allowed to do as a kid. We're never allowed to watch TV on Christmas Day because you had all your guests, all your aunts and uncles coming around. That's why I always prefer Boxing Day to Christmas Day. You got to do what you wanted. And I said to my friend, old mate, I said, I'm looking forward to this. I was slightly apprehensive though. He said, no, there's a difference from being on your own and being lonely. You be on your own because that's what you've chosen to do. To be lonely is to be on your own and have no choice but to be on your own. That's a much more serious state of affairs.
But do you ever regret the fact that you hadn't got someone?
Yeah, I regret.
And
yes,
children, you do.
I do. I regret that, and I regret not having children because I've got 14 godchildren, And everybody says I'm good with kids, which I am. I like kids. Though it's easier to like them when you can give them back at 7 o'clock at night, to their parents. I'd like to have had kids, but in a sense I don't regret it. Because I've often seen what people in my circumstances, this kind of high aggression, work hard, play hard, who do get married, sometimes too young, and have children, again sometimes too young, and within 4 or 5 years they're divorced.
You've been close a couple of times to being married.
Yes.
Have you actually proposed to someone before?
No, it didn't get that close. I proposed to someone at university. She was absolutely beautiful and she was the nicest girl around. But it would have been a disaster to have got married.
Did she say no?
Yeah, we got engaged.
Oh, you were engaged?
Yeah, it was a secret. It was just the two of us knew. But we got engaged. We even bought the ring or put the deposit on the ring. But I never went back and got that deposit. Could be worth a fortune.
So talk me through what happened then. You proposed, you gave her a ring.
Yeah, and you know what? I got engaged. I mean, we were in love, and we were in our early 20s. She was at Manchester, Salford University. I was at Glasgow University. We met at a student conference, fell in love, became okay. I would travel down to Manchester, hitch lifts to see her. She would come up to stay with me in my parents' house in Glasgow at times. And my best friend had got engaged, and it just seemed the natural thing to do. And then it was after I got engaged, I realized this was crazy. I was in second year at university. I didn't know what I wanted to do, and that this would end in tears. So it was better to break it. And it would have done.
So you broke the engagement off?
Yeah.
How did she take that?
Not well. But then you never do. And a couple of other times
What's
I got...
her name?
Oh, no, she's a private individual. You know better than to ask that. And a couple of other times that I came close to getting married, on both of these occasions, I'm glad that I didn't, because when I look back or I see how things have developed with them, it would not have lasted. And I think in this modern world, what I would have looked for is probably unattainable now when you look at how so many marriages end in failure. That I always thought if you get married, it should be forever. And I think you particularly owe that to the kids. Because of my background was like that, it was solid and so on. I just think it's so hard in today's world.
Can I quickly ask you?
Yeah.
Because it would be rude not to, about the private eye photograph that keeps turning up.
Yeah, does it still appear though? Because I don't see the eye. I was at a private eye lunch a couple of weeks ago. It wasn't as full of delicious gossip. Maybe I didn't have a good day. I was lucky because I sat behind Ian Hislop, and he's always the editor. He's always great fun. He and I get on well together, and we exchange stories and so on. But I expected to come away brimming with gossip and new information. So it was a little bit disappointing, but anyway, it was fine. The picture, the picture doesn't really, the picture doesn't really bother me, but even if it does, I wouldn't say it, because they'd probably just keep on running it more and more. The picture has led to a lot of misapprehensions, First of all, I'm amazed at the number of people that think it's Pamela Bordes. Well, last time I looked, Pamela Bordes was Indian. Mm-hmm. This is a black Afro-American.
But probably I always asserting that she's an Asian babe.
Yeah, she's not. She's American and she's black. She's an Afro-American. She was the #1 makeup artist in American television. And she did Barbara Ward, and we went out for a little while. And the other thing is that this, because me with the baseball hat and in a vest, is people think that we were out at a nightclub. Well, like we'd just come off the beach in Barbados. It was my mate Terry O'Neill took the picture. And she's probably still got the rights. He's probably making a fortune out of it. So we took. I mean, well, what else do you wear at the beach but a t-shirt and a baseball hat? I mean,
I was going to ask you, why isn't Terry O'Neill sort of asserted his copyright and charged them?
Well, he probably is. The bastard. Wait till I see him. So look, the die is cast. The deed is done. That picture's there. If it's people having some fun, fine. It's not. It's well past embarrassment time.
And the nickname Brillo Pad, how do you view that now?
That's the same thing. That's just gone into the lexicon.
Has anyone ever called you Brillo Pad to your face? And
Oh, I think so a couple of times. Somebody wanted to think they were being offensive. Though I saw on Wikipedia at some stage, somebody changed it, that I was called Brillo Pad because I wore a wig. Well, I mean, I think in my business, wearing a wig or a toupee, whatever they call it. I don't think you can get away with that. Too. I mean, the chances of something really
So
embarrassing.
it's not a toupee then?
I don't think so. No.
Has
If it was, it would look a lot better than this.
One very last question. Imagine you were cast adrift in a
Mm.
life raft with Michael Portillo and Diane Abbott.
Mm.
Who would you throw overboard, keeping in mind that the one remaining you'd sooner or later have to eat to survive?
Oh, then you'd have to throw Michael over first, if that's the condition. Because you'd survive longer on Diane.
As I said, Andrew Neil, ladies' man with a big appetite.
Exactly, you knew it was a setup.